Hi, this is Kirk Davis. I'm here with Gretchen from Mid-Mountain Materials, and we're here to talk about the effect of the pandemic on manufacturing and how we're implementing safety guidelines. And welcome, Gretchen.
Thank you, Kirk. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, my goodness. Well, tell us about you. So, Gretchen, we're interested in you and how you got to where you are today in manufacturing, and then tell us about Mid-Mountain.
So Mid-Mountain Materials is my family's business. My father started it in our garage in 1969. He had been in the refractories business and is a geologist. And so he's very familiar with chemical science and all the things that help us make our products. And he decided he wanted to go out on his own. And in 1969, after working a little bit on the business in our garage in Canada, he relocated our whole family out to Seattle and continued to tinker with products in the garage while he did other odd jobs to feed his family. And in 1976, he incorporated Mid-Mountain Materials and at that time had an actual real office. So it was pretty exciting time. My mother worked on the books during that time, and my brother decided to help with the family business in 1978 or 79. And with the three of them, they built the company that is now Mid-Mountain. Of course, through the years, we added more people to the company, and as family members, we were required to help out as well. So I recall being 13 years old and making Navy hand shields in our basement, cutting and sewing for $1 a piece. Yeah,
Wow.
It was my summer job.
Expensive labor, yeah.
Yes. My older sister worked for the company for a number of years, running the office, doing customer service, purchasing, everything. And after, I also worked cleaning the offices, cleaning the bathrooms in the manufacturing plant once we got a plant. And then I went off to college, and about 4 years after college, and having been living in San Diego and just barely being able to make ends meet, my parents said, "We really need somebody at the company. Would you be willing to come home and work for us?" And I was like, okay. So I did move home, and I started working for the company in 1990 full-time, doing purchasing, doing customer service. Then I moved on to purchasing full-time, did that for 20 years. Then I moved into a marketing role and did that for several years. And about 6 years ago, I also took on overseeing operations and human resources. So lots of
That's a career progression, yeah.
Yeah, there was lots of experience there. And I actually did work in the plant when I was in high school. All my girlfriends were working at Nordstrom, and I was working in the plant with fiberglass. But the point being that we all contributed. My younger sister worked for us for a short period of time before going to the Peace Corps. We all contributed to keep this family business growing, and it's just very near and dear to all of our hearts.
Boy, that's a great story, and I think it's an interesting career path too, because you had this opportunity to do so many different things: sewing, cleaning bathrooms, purchasing, HR, marketing. So, you learn a lot of skills, and you learn this ownership, executive skill as an owner of the company.
Yes. My father is retired from the company, and today my brother and I run the company and share ownership with our father.
That's wonderful. Yeah, that's really the American story, isn't it? Just yeah, it's not easy. I mean, you and I talked about that. This was a rough road. This wasn't an easy road.
No, there were many, many, many times when my parents would have to call customers and ask if they would mind paying the invoice early so they could make payroll.
Wow.
There were a lot of lean years,
You see, I
and
think a lot of people, they look at you today, Mid-Mountain Materials today, but they don't see that sacrifice and the difficulties. And
it was it was tough. And we were lucky that my parents, when they first incorporated, that they got a young banker who sits on our board to this day,
oh, wow.
who was willing to work with them
Yeah,
and not just cut them off on the line of credit when things got tough.
it worked with them,
He worked with them, and
believed in them and
yeah,
supported them.
and to this day they still are so grateful
Yeah.
that he was willing to work with a small family business and help them grow. So it's kind of cool that he sits on our board and advises us still. Um, yeah, it's crazy. I remember growing up, and when I was 5 years old, going out into the garage, and my father would be fabricating these insulation blankets that consisted of fiberglass mat, and it was encased in a stainless steel mesh.
Oh,
So he would wrap the fiberglass blanket in this mesh and then kind of staple it all together. Well, stainless steel mesh, those little pieces drop out of the mesh, and
yeah.
I'd come out there barefoot.
Oh, no.
I can't tell you how many pieces of stainless
Oh,
steel mesh I would get stuck in my feet.
oh, man.
So
Man.
I don't go
Learn,
out into the plant barefoot.
because and you learn a lot about materials and material handling, and you guys work with, yeah, and thank you for that insight into the company, because I think a lot of people don't understand, like your father coming as an employee of other businesses and a contractor to other businesses, how difficult that is to start small and become big and survive. And so this is a wonderful success story. But tell us more about Mid-Mountain Materials and what it does.
So Mid-Mountain Materials is a manufacturer of thermal barriers and environmental protection products. A lot of our products are high temperature resistant, chemical resistant, abrasion resistant, and are used in processing in heavy industries, like steel mills, oil refineries, aluminum smelters,
Mm,
power generation.
interesting.
We manufacture abrasion resistant products for transportation, for
Mm,
rail grinders, to encapsulate the sparks that is caused when they're grinding the rails, so it
yeah.
doesn't catch the world on fire. We really do such a big range of products, and growing up, it was incredibly difficult to explain to my peers what my father did for a living.
Yeah.
I'm like, Dad, why can't you just work at Boeing? I can say
Yeah.
you work at Boeing.
And yeah, exactly. Try to explain this.
Right, right.
Wow.
One of the easiest things to explain is that we manufacture the insulation that goes into gas fireplaces. So um, this, again, this is like a health and safety type of product. It keeps the carbon monoxide, dioxide, one of those things, from
All those
coming
things.
into your house,
Yes.
the bad stuff.
It keeps
Um,
the best of everyone getting into your house. And
yes.
it's amazing how much science and material science has gone into your company that, again, makes this world a safer, better place in ways that people don't even, might not even appreciate.
We are so fortunate to have such a smart team. My brother learned so much from my father for so many years. Um, and he's just kept all this knowledge in his head. And we have a fantastic chemical engineer on staff who's been with us for 25 years, who's just so smart. And so
Yeah.
um, it's just a really great combination, and there's a lot of creative minds.
Yeah.
With those creative minds, Mid-Mountain developed a product. NASA came to us and asked if we could help develop a fabric to be used on the Mars 2020 lander. And it's always our philosophy that we never say it
Yeah.
can't be done. We're like,
We're going
it
to figure
can
it
be
out.
done. It can be done. But in this case, when the engineer from NASA called my brother, John was like, there's no fabric that can do this, when he was first laying out the
Wow.
specifications. But then he threw in one little nugget um, that made my brother say, you know what? We can do that.
Oh,
So with
wow.
NASA and Jet Propulsion Laboratories, we created the airbag fabric, for lack of a better word, that is on the Mars 2020 lander. So
That's
it was,
amazing.
yeah, it was really fun. It was a fun time
Jeez.
watching all these minds in our plant trying to figure this out, and we did, and we have some great pictures of it on our website. It's pretty cool. The other really interesting thing that we did was in 2020, or excuse me, 2010, with the working together with a marine response partner that we have, we created the hydro fire boom, which was used to burn off the oil offshore from
Oh,
the
wow.
Deepwater Horizon oil spill.
Oh, my goodness.
So it was in partnership with them that we created this fire boom, and it was just a really neat experience to be part
Wow.
of cleaning that up and
Jeez.
helping the environment. I don't have all the numbers in my head. John could reel them off in a second because he went down there
Yeah.
during the spill and slept in a cargo container with the
My
teams
goodness.
who were
Jeez.
deploying the fire boom. He had a really great experience, and he knows how many hundreds of thousands of pounds of oil we burned off. It was
Yeah.
amazing. So it's
Wow.
just really exciting to be, you know, between fire boom for oil cleanup to Mars lander and gas fireplaces in between. It's just, yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
You mentioned this is custom manufacturing that you tend to do.
Yes, it is. We do have some products that are standard. You know, our coated fabrics are mostly standard products, but as in the case of the Mars lander fabric, that was a custom project, and we do other custom coating projects. A lot of our textiles that we weave and knit, those are unique to every customer
Yeah.
based on the configuration of whatever it is that they have to seal. And then our fabricated parts are definitely custom. The seals, the blankets, the curtains, the barriers that we make for aircraft, those are all custom. There's no on the shelf product that somebody would call up and buy. It's all done to our customers' drawings and specifications, or we will work in collaboration with our customer to develop a product.
You know, you mentioned the creativity, the intelligence, and the, you know, the tenacity of your team. And I've met some of your team members, and they're happy. You know, when I was there, I mean, really, they're excited. There's a challenge, but they're smart and they're capable. They're creative. They're innovative, and so that's why I really advocate careers in manufacturing. Just, you know, if you want something adventurous, something, you know, challenging, something that makes you think and you get to create. I mean, I don't know. I strongly advocate careers in manufacturing.
It is different every single day, and there is never a dull moment.
No, not at all. Well,
um,
in fact, speaking of no dull moments, what about the pandemic? So I can't
yes,
imagine. I mean, you guys are already a good company with strong best practices, strong lean, and you know, strong safety. And now the pandemic hits, but you were deemed an essential business, I believe.
we are an essential business to critical infrastructure, such as the power generation plants, the aluminum smelters. All that has to keep going. They don't shut down, and we were actually informed by one of our large aluminum customers that we were not allowed to shut down.
Ah,
So
okay.
that was interesting.
Yeah.
But we didn't want to shut down. We wanted to keep moving forward, be there for our customers. And it was a very trying time to make that happen and make our team feel safe and comfortable. And there was a lot of fear during that time. There was a
So it's
lot of
not easy
fear.
for them to come in.
No,
Worry. Yeah.
we're very lucky because we are not set up like a meat packing plant or an
Yeah.
assembly line where people are shoulder to shoulder. We have a 60,000 square foot facility. All of our departments are spaced out, and within each department, the job can be done with physical distancing.
Oh, good. Yeah.
So we were one of the lucky ones because we could spread out with, and
So,
we are
so
spread out.
who was it in your company who said, I'm going to kind of lead the charge on safety practices for the company? Was that you or was somebody
It was
else?
a combination of John, my brother, Fred Wilcutt, our operations manager, and myself.
Oh, okay.
So when the pandemic hit and it became evident that this was very serious, we jumped into action. We it was a tough time to find supplies, as everybody knows.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, we got the
Short up your
clean.
supply chain and
Yeah, we got the cleaners, we got the wipes.
oh yeah.
We've always had the masks,
Oh yeah.
but we've always had the N95 respirator or masks, but we went one step further and we got a N95 respirator for
Oh, okay.
everybody if they wanted to
Nice.
use one. We also have the respirators that we use when we're coating with some more of the
Yeah.
more obnoxious chemicals.
Yes.
Everything that we use in our plant is safe. We don't use solvents. Everything is safe, but some of them put off a little bit more of an odor than others. So we do have the really heavy canister respirators. So we provided as much PPE as we could
Ah,
for the team right out of the gate.
just to ensure the safety of everybody there.
Yes.
And you had the
Yes.
distancing down.
Yes, we had the distancing down. We had to, and our shifts are staggered anyway.
Okay.
So again, that was good, but we had a rule, no more than 3 people in the lunchroom at a time.
Oh, nice.
You had to take staggered breaks. Maybe it's better if you take your break in your car. We have an outdoor area with a
Okay.
covered outdoor area with picnic tables. Maybe take your break outside, weather permitting. So we did come up with additional things just besides the PPE and the cleaning supplies. And then there were the countless webinars
Yes.
on COVID safety
Yeah.
that Fred and I watched
Oh,
constantly. We did a
so you
webinar.
were you were on top of those safety webinars, and there was a lot of them, I know.
There were so many.
Yeah.
Between the webinars on the COVID safety and the PPP, I felt like all I was doing was staring at my laptop, taking
Yeah.
notes.
Now, do you mind if I ask, when a lot of times when you introduce these safety things, I understand people's concern, but were there, I think of it as a cultural shift or cultural change that we used to do it this way, but now we have to do it this way.
Mhm.
Was there some resistance to this?
There was no resistance, and Kirk, I'll
Mm.
tell you why, because our team wanted to come to work.
Ah,
They, there were a few people who their fear was a little more evident and
yeah.
completely understandable.
Yeah, there you go.
The information coming out about the more elderly who are at higher risk, and
Yes.
some of our team have their
Sure.
parents caring for their children, or so there was some fear. There
Yeah.
was no resistance to the shift in culture, and
Oh,
in
wow.
fact it would be funny because you would walk into the lunchroom, and if you needed to go over to the area where the plates and cups and all those things were, and somebody was there, you would see the other person just stand back,
Oh,
and give them that space.
wow.
Nobody wanted to get sick, and everybody wanted to keep working because the unemployment mess,
Yeah.
nobody wanted to go through that,
No,
and nobody wanted to sit at home.
yes.
So we were thanked quite often for staying open.
Wow.
And we told our team how much we appreciated them coming in and taking that risk.
Now, did you
But
find, was it easy for you to say, we're doing this now, or was it a safety briefing? How did you communicate what you were going to do?
So immediately, uh, when this got to a certain point, I made big signs, or for lack of a better word, that explained what
Oh,
COVID is, how to keep yourself safe, what we
oh,
would like you to do, physically distance, wash your hands, use the hand sanitizer. We have all these Purell stand-up
yeah.
hand sanitizers everywhere. Um, just putting forth all the information that we had at the time and we knew, and it was posted everywhere.
Did you do that on whiteboards or white poster paper? How did you do it?
I just did it on a big 11 by 17 piece of paper, and we
Oh, okay.
laminated it, printed
Very well.
out a ton of them and laminated
Okay.
it. And then down the road, Fred and I attended a webinar through Archbright that was really informative, and they provided this whole resource guide. So they had all these infographics that you
Oh,
could download and print.
nice.
So we downloaded and printed, how to wash your hands, you know, how to cover a sneeze, all
Oh,
those
yeah.
things. And we posted them everywhere,
Nice.
everywhere.
Smart. Very
Yeah,
smart.
yeah. So, it was helpful. I think a lot of it is common sense, but I think
I
having
think
those reminders posted
I think
everywhere,
that's so helpful.
you're right. Yes, I think
Very
it's
good
very
best
helpful.
practice. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So, um, yeah, we, knock on wood, have had no cases.
Yeah.
And I feel that because our team wants to come to work every day, that outside of work, they're following the guidelines.
Yeah.
And, no one wants to get sick.
Yeah.
So,
Gather sick. So now you had an opportunity because your company was right on top of this. You're watching the webinars. Archright had all this, great information. So you already kind of had a plan, if you will, a safety plan that was tailor made to the pandemic situation.
yes,
But you still engaged Impact Washington for their free assessment.
yes, we did. Um, we feel you can't have too much information about anything. And when
That's smart.
Impact Washington offered the free assessment as part of a grant they had, we were like, yes, please come in and tell us, are we doing this right? Do we have everything in place? And while their assessment was really good validation that we had taken a lot of the right steps, there were some things we hadn't thought of, like, for example, the whiteboard in the conference room and all the markers that are in the tray for the whiteboard. Um, those have to be wiped off every time
Oh,
they're
wow.
used. And in fact, Impact Washington said, actually, you should put those away. So we took all our cups of pens off the conference room table. Everybody had to bring in their own pen.
Oh, wow.
She said you should have, alcohol wipes to wipe off anything, the projector,
Yeah.
disinfecting wipes. So we have, in our conference room, we have masks, we have wipes, we have alcohol wipes, we have hand sanitizer, we have it all.
Oh,
But
man.
just little things like that, that we were like, oh shoot, we forgot the conference room.
Yeah.
And I think the reason for that is we weren't really using the conference room. We cut off all internal meetings in person. You had to do it via Zoom.
Yeah.
So nobody was really allowed to go into the conference room. So that kind of went off our radar.
Yeah.
But now, as things have loosened up a bit, we do sit in there socially distanced. So
Hmm.
maybe if the meeting is only 4 people,
Yeah.
we can be in there. That's about the max. So those tips that she gave us were great. And there were just some other little things that we didn't think of. The first step that we did in the assessment is went through every single position, the quality, the operations manager, the operators, and evaluated if they were low, medium, or high risk with what they do in the plant every day.
Ah,
And then based on that risk, came up with the plan or added to what we already had for making sure that they stay safe.
yeah.
So it was just a very well thought out assessment covering every single person in the plant, every job in the plant, to make sure that we have everything in place to keep them safe. So,
One of the things I'm hearing from manufacturers is they don't want to have a situation where they may have to shut down.
oh, uh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that would be difficult.
We have had a couple people be tested, and it turned out they were no COVID.
Oh,
They
good,
just
good.
had a cold or
Yeah, I
something.
know. Yeah,
But I think about, holy cow, what would we do if what
yeah.
like that would just be devastating.
It would be devastating. Yeah, and
It
so
would
we
be
want to take all the
devastating.
precautions. So on a daily basis, what are your daily? Are people getting their temperatures taken? What are the daily things that you're doing?
We are not doing the temperature taking, but what we do is whenever somebody comes in to the plant, they change into their uniform, they wash their hands, they put on gloves, they have their mask. Um, we have signs in the lunchroom every single time you touch the faucet, a cabinet pull, the refrigerator door, wipe it down. We have
Uh,
everything in the
the
lunchroom.
wipe down rule. Yeah,
Wipe it down, wipe it down, wipe it down.
yeah,
I'm not sure. I think we are not doing the temperature taking because we don't have everybody coming in at once.
mm,
We have people coming in at 5 o'clock,
staggered. Yeah,
and who's going to be the one taking the temperature to say you have to go home?
yeah,
Um, we stress that if you are sick, do not come in.
yeah,
If you don't feel well, do not come in.
yeah. There you go.
And if you come in and you don't appear well, you will be sent home.
Yeah, there you go.
So we're giving our team a lot of responsibility
Yeah,
to
yeah.
take care of themselves and each other,
I think that's
and they're doing a great job.
yeah, that's great. Well,
They're
no,
doing a great job.
it's really been so great to hear your thought process and your how this has evolved. And anyway, I think it's helpful to everybody who's hearing this. Do you have any advice? So other manufacturers who are listening to this and trying to pick up the tips, I know that they know what the CDC guidelines are. They know what the state guidelines are. They've been watching some of the same Zoom things, but
Yeah,
is there any other recommendations you might give to fellow manufacturers?
I would say, at the beginning, when we made the decision to stay open, Boeing shut down, the governor put us on shelter in place, and we were saying we're essential manufacturing and we're not going to shut down.
Hmm.
And oh, it was a tough, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Just waiting to see if someone's going to let the dog in. It was a tough thing because Inslee was saying those who can work from home should work from home. And John and I can work from home, yet we were asking our team to come to the plant. And can we pause for a moment?
Yes, I'm going to pause.
So the shelter in place went into effect, and those who could work from home were requested that they do. But John and I felt very torn because we were asking our team to come to work at the plant, and we're just going to work from home. So we went up there several times a week. Actually, my brother, for a number of weeks, went up there and worked there every day and was there to address people's concerns and fears and just be present. And I would come up a couple times a week myself and just show the team that we are with you, right? We're not asking you to take this risk, and and not take it ourselves. So we would walk through the plant and say hi to everybody and talk with them a little bit, 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
And, I would just stress to manufacturers that during this time to just really appreciate your team and be present and be with them and be ready to listen and be empathetic
Mhm.
to their fears, because the fear is real. We could all come down with this any day. You just don't know.
We're watching
And
it on the news, and yeah,
right,
the
right.
fear is
And
real.
so for us, it was a really good bonding time with our team.
Yeah,
And I feel like we've come out stronger after
yeah,
this. You know, it was the first few weeks were surreal. I'm not gonna lie. It
oh,
was just like nothing we've experienced.
yeah, it was chaos for everybody, I think.
Ugh, so much chaos, but we got through it.
Yeah,
And so
that's what we
so
do.
that would be my advice, Kirk, is that you just be present and be grateful and be diligent. And
Well, and I think what you're kind of saying too is that at the very top level of the company, they saw you come in, they saw you be there with them, they saw you talk with them, and you were masked up and you were keeping your social distance, and you were doing the same things you were asking them to do. And
exactly,
it's hard for, I think, for employees if that isn't happening.
I would agree.
You have to
I,
do this, but I don't, and then things fall apart.
right, right. It yeah, we just we we can't ask that of them and not be present
Yeah.
ourselves.
I,
So in a
I
way, we felt like we were defying the governor's order to work from home. But on the flip side,
to me, that's real leadership. What you and John did there, you
thank
know.
you.
I think your team is astounding. I think Mid Mountain Materials is such a great example of a company who makes a difference in the world and outer space and the environment. And I think leaders like you and John are just one in a million. So it's
Thank you.
such a pleasure to have you as a member of camps and to have these type of conversations. So thank you for sharing today.
Well, it's my pleasure, Kirk. And I have to say that being involved with camps has just been such a positive experience for us. And I would encourage all manufacturers to join camps. The I don't know if camaraderie is the right word, but just being with other manufacturers and hearing about successes
Mhm.
and challenges and being able to bounce those things off of each other. And of course, our socials are so much
Yeah,
fun.
yeah,
The education is so terrific.
yeah.
It's just
It's really
really,
working together. Yeah,
it really is. Camps is such a great community for the manufacturing sector. And
yeah.
we just feel very lucky
Very
to have
unique.
been made aware of camps and to have
Yeah.
been a part of it for a number of years. So
Yeah,
we
and thank
thank
you so
you.
much. You guys bring so much to it, and you're just a great example of another great camps member making a difference.
Thank you, Kirk.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
We'll see you.